2025 International Day Against Drug Abuse, Breaking the Chains, Prevention, Treatment, and Recovery for All. This slogan emphasizes community support, healthcare access, and the need for global solidarity in addressing drug abuse and illicit trafficking. Since 2013, a campaign called Support, Don't Punish has been associated by the 26th June, coordinated by the International Drug Policy Consortium so that the drug policy be focused on health, human rights, and the end of the criminalization of people who uses drugs.
And legitimate markets. Illicit trafficking can occur in both black markets, informal underground networks, and through legitimate channels disguising illegal activities as legal. International scope. Many forms of illicit trafficking, such as drug trafficking and human trafficking, often involve crossing international borders and require complex global networks. In essence, illicit trafficking is a broad term encompassing a wide range of illegal activities involving the movement and trade of goods or services that are against the law, often with significant consequences for individuals, communities, and economy.
Young people are dying. They're overdosing on heroin and fentanyl. You wonder, how did this young person get to this horrible spot in life? Let's turn back the clock. Go back in time, to younger days, to understand how addiction starts, to understand how to prevent it from happening. While each addiction situation is different, there are generally 3 ingredients. First, teens have a lot to cope with. Many teenagers are trying to figure out, who am I? What is my identity? And there is stress. When teens were asked, they said the number one reason they used drugs was to deal with the pressures and stress of school. And some teens have to cope with stress at home. There could be emotional neglect, abuse, divorce, a family member with an illness, a family member who is addicted, the death of a loved one, money troubles, or other challenges. Many teens also need to cope with depression or social anxiety. In addition to a lot to cope with, some teenagers, through no fault of their own, have poor coping skills. Maybe their parent or parents have been caught up in their work or other family crises and do not even realize that their teenage child needs help. Maybe their parent or parents are struggling themselves and are simply not able to teach their kids how to constructively cope with life. And teens who experience day-to-day depression or social anxiety may develop an unwarranted negative self-image. This can make it tougher to cope. The third ingredient to addiction that may be present is certain brain chemistry. Some people, by virtue of how their brain processes chemicals, get hooked easier. You can attribute this to your family tree, otherwise known as genetics. Genetic susceptibility doesn't have to be present for a teen to develop addiction, but it can increase their chances. All 3 of these pieces do not have to be present for addiction to happen. Any one piece, if strong enough, can lead a teen down the addiction.
This has resulted to a good microeconomic environment for the growth of legitimate international trade, Reuter and Kellman, 1986 P19. However, the liberalization of trade has also provided an opportunity for organized gangs to engage in drug trafficking on a global scale. Cartels consisting of drug producers and traffickers produce illicit drugs usually in developing countries and distribute them into different countries, gaining huge profits. The proceeds from drug trafficking are then invested in tragic financial centers and legitimate investments, giving good investment return to the drug traffickers. The only contributed widening the economic inequality gap affecting the economic growth of a country. Trade in illicit drugs affects the global economy as well as the socio-political aspects of the